Hello everyone, I am Chief Meteorologist George Lessons. Severe Weather Awareness Week may be over, but it is never too late to learn how to prepare for severe weather events. Throughout Severe Weather Awareness Week, the 13 on Your Side weather team told stories that highlighted the Gaylord tornado of 2022, its follow-up, and severe weather preparation tips and myths. This special will help you learn how to keep you and your family safe during severe weather events. This is Michigan's Severe Weather Awareness Week, and the 13 on Your Side meteorologists will look back at one of last year's biggest storms, how to plan for this year's severe weather season, and separate fact from fiction by debunking weather myths. Nearly 1 year ago, on May 20th, 2022, the city of Gaylord was hit with the strongest tornado in its history. On that Friday afternoon, thunderstorms roar across northern lower Michigan, producing damaging winds, large hail, and an EF3 tornado.
3 days earlier, the Storm Prediction Center forecasts possible severe weather from lower Michigan to Texas. It follows up with a slight risk, or a 2 out of 5, in its forecasts Wednesday and Thursday, and again on that Friday. As morning thunderstorms depart Wisconsin, they strengthen as they cross Lake Michigan. Anticipating a severe weather outbreak, SPC issues a severe thunderstorm watch just before 2 p.m. for hail up to 2 inches, winds to 70 miles per hour, and the possibility of a tornado or two. Within 15 minutes, the National Weather Service in Gaylord issues a severe thunderstorm warning for Leelanau, Benzie, and Grand Traverse counties for damaging winds and large hail. Around 2:30, 76-mile-per-hour winds slam into the Frankfort Lighthouse at Lake Michigan, followed by wind damage near Glen Arbor and Leland. 2 more severe thunderstorm warnings are issued at 2:45 and 3:25 p.m. ahead of the storms for Antrim, Kalkaska, Otsego, and Charlevoix counties as large hail and 70-plus-mile-per-hour winds strike Alba and Elmira. At this point, the thunderstorm damage threat had become considerable. 10 minutes later, at 3:35, the supercell thunderstorm spawns a tornado about 6 miles south of Elmira, moving northeast towards Gaylord at about 50 miles per hour. A tornado warning is immediately issued for Antrim and Otsego counties, with a tornado expected to reach Gaylord by 3:45 p.m. and Vanderbilt and Spar around 3:55 p.m.
It's very windy.
Hail and high winds accompany the storm as the tornado enters Gaylord at 3:48 p.m. The tornado crosses M32 on the west side and then I-75 on the north side before lifting about 1 mile northeast of Spar around 3:55 p.m. The severe storms race northeast, reaching Lake Huron by late afternoon. Rescue and recovery efforts begin immediately. 44 people suffered injuries, while 2 individuals lost their lives. Damage surveys rate the tornado as an EF3, the strongest on record for northern lower Michigan. In its 20-minute rampage, it traveled nearly 17 miles, producing 150-mile-per-hour winds up to 200 yards wide.
Next up, meteorologist Samantha Jacks looks at how Gaylord is recovering and what the community is doing going forward to prepare for severe weather season.
Our neighbors' houses, our business partners' houses, businesses themselves, commercial spaces, all completely taken out in the blink of an eye, really.
Nearly 1 year ago, an EF3 tornado ripped through this town, leaving behind an 18-mile-long path of destruction, killing 2 and injuring dozens more. Severe weather can happen anywhere, anytime, and to anyone, and this town knows that best.
Oh my God, look at it!
The radar imagery was very textbook, very much a supercell that was producing a pretty strong tornado. The top priority is to get the warning out.
The warning was issued, but response time was limited.
Received a text at 3:22 p.m., kind of finishing up the day at the office on a Friday afternoon, and at 3:47 the tornado begins rolling by us at work.
So I had left the store just a few minutes before it hit. I was in my car. My cell phone went off about the warning, the tornado warning that there was one in Gaylord. So I turned around and went back to the store, and by the time I was there, the damage was already done.
Stories like this all across town. Businesses destroyed.
Just the inside of the store is just demolished.
cars tossed. And that right there, that car, that was one that you had pointed out to me just a second ago.
Yes, that car in particular speaks out to me as we, again, we're doing work in this area, saw many cars flipped over, including that one.
Many have spent the last 11 months rebuilding.
You know, I do truly believe that the worst of times bring out the best of times in people, and you certainly saw that on display in the Gaylord community following the May 20th tornado.
But the memories continue.
Again, for 15 minutes to take so much from so many is, you know, truly a humbling and heartbreaking experience.
You know, it instilled some fear in people that before probably didn't take it as seriously as they should have. Again, I mean, I spent most of my life in Tornado Alley, and they're quite frequent, almost every summer. But here, you know, it was a shock.
Us meteorologists agree this storm was rare.
You don't typically see a larger severe weather event like that up here in northern Michigan. So for it to happen in little Gaylord, where it's not really that common, that's definitely a testament to say that it could certainly happen wherever it wants to in the state of Michigan, including the Grand Rapids area.
Which is why the time is now to prepare.
Have plans, have something ready so that if there is a warning that you know what to do. I mean, that's what saved our folks.
Having a plan is so important, but so is having multiple means to receive critical weather information like these options behind me. For the 13 on Your Side Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Samantha Jacks.
It's really about being prepared, being aware, and having a plan.
Preparation is key to keep individuals, families, and communities safe from severe weather. Emergency managers use knowledge from past events to mold readiness for the future.
Trying to prevent yesterday's emergencies, or the emergencies that we know about and can predict, try to prevent those from becoming tomorrow's disasters.
For Matt Grosier, Kent County's emergency manager, communication is the most adequate way to be prepared.
We try to know what is headed our way as early as possible so that we can in turn take that information and provide the public with some useful guidance or instructions on what they should be doing to prepare.
This wouldn't be possible without a streamline between emergency managers and local meteorologists.
We have just a fantastic relationship with the Grand Rapids office of the National Weather Service.
The community's emergency management, the partnership is very strong from local to state to federal to tribal level with the National Weather Service. When the weather gets here, we provide weather warnings and on-the-spot forecasts for emergency management so they can take their action plans and help their communities get to safety as quickly as possible.
Many of us are in a chat program that we kind of share with them and broadcast meteorologists, so we're seeing live time information as it's coming across, and that gives us an opportunity to make informed decisions.
Readiness allows for swift action between multiple organizations during severe weather and the immediate moments that follow.
So one of the first things that we do is we try to assess the damage. What has occurred? How bad is it? What resources are going to be required to handle it. Any of those entities that would be called upon to respond in the event of some type of local emergency or disaster.
The confidence in preparation and resultant action is telling.
So not only do you get weather warnings from the Weather Service, but many communities have local notification systems, weather sirens, and other means to communicate hazardous weather that is in place well before the weather gets here.
We've got a good cohesion between the different response disciplines here in Kent County certainly, but the region as well. I have a very high level of confidence that those agencies will be there in our time of need.
It circles back to all of us understanding Mother Nature's worst moments.
I think a message to the public is that community preparedness starts with the individual. You have to make sure that you have that resilience first before we are able to truly be a resilient community.
Simple actions you can take to be prepared includes having a NOAA weather radio, an emergency kit in your house, and at least a 3-day supply of water and non-perishable food. Tomorrow, meteorologist Michael Behrens will look at severe weather fallacies and break down fact or fiction.
One of the biggest myths about severe weather in Michigan is that it can't happen here. And as you've seen through our reporting during this Severe Weather Awareness Week, the big one is possible and has happened over the years in our region. From Gaylord last year to Kalamazoo in 1980, large, violent, and deadly tornadoes can happen anywhere. So with that myth out of the way, what are some other severe weather myths? Let's separate fact from fiction. When it comes to weather in West Michigan, there's many myths about what can and can't happen. One of those first myths is that Lake Michigan can actually stop us from getting severe thunderstorms. So let's take a look at that. What do we need to actually form a thunderstorm? Well, we need a couple of ingredients: moisture, instability, and lift. And we can get those over the land. So we have cold air aloft and we have some warm, moist air at the surface. That air rises into the thunderstorm and can cause some pretty nasty weather. But what if we replace that ground with water? Well, that water doesn't have as much heat. It can cut off that warm, moist air lifting into the sky. It can actually cut off the energy that these thunderstorms need to form. That's all well and good, and it can spare us from some thunderstorms, but it only works if the ingredients fueling the storm are coming from the surface. If they're stronger aloft, then the change between lake and land is not going to make any difference. Another fun fact here is Lake Michigan can actually create some tornadoes, because if we have winds coming across the lake at a pretty fast clip, they hit the shoreline, they encounter some resistance and additional friction. That friction causes a change in speed, which can cause some spin-up tornadoes, and while they are likely brief and weak, it can cause them nonetheless. Another myth about tornadoes is that they can't strike cities. Well, there's no truth to that either. This video here shows what a tornado did in Grand Rapids back in 2016. It wasn't the first one to hit the city, and it certainly won't be the last. And for our final myth, some people say that you need to take precautions when a tornado comes to your house before you seek shelter, such as opening your windows, or that house could explode. Whoa! Well, let's rewind things here. That house is not actually sealed up enough that a pressure difference from a tornado is going to make any change to whether or not it lives through a storm such as this, and you're just wasting time that would be better spent getting to shelter. So let's go ahead and take a look at where that shelter should be taken inside of your house. The areas you want to avoid are anything near an exterior wall or a window. Interior rooms are the best, something completely closed off even better. Of course, the best solution is to head to the basement, and no particular spot in the basement is better than another, but put yourself under something sturdy for protection, like a solid table if you have it available. Of course, severe weather in West Michigan comes in many forms other than tornadoes. Hail and wind and lightning can also cause concerns, so make sure you're heeding the warnings when severe weather is in the forecast. As this Severe Weather Awareness Week draws to a close, we want to remind you that the 13 on Your Side weather team will be here all throughout the coming severe weather season to keep you prepared and safe for the weather that is yet to come. If you have any questions about the weather or weather safety, you can always ask via social media or by texting them to 616-559-1310.